Alright, back from work. This was a quick job. Just had to change a light fixture for a guy. Anyway, what I decided to do is spend my time. I cut out these pieces of cardboard for templates. And my phone ran. And I'm gonna weld this up, get this all structurally sound in here. That piece goes in there like that. And the web in there. Cut a piece up there, welded that in. I'm gonna get this all solid first. And when I was talking about tube and notcher, when I cut these saddles out, I think that was an absolute fluke that worked, because I set it up again and I was gonna make a cut just to trim just a notch down the tubing with my hole saw in the drill press, and there were parts and stuff flying all over the place. I broke the pilot bit off. Yeah, don't try that, because that's just accident waiting to happen. So what I'm gonna do, it's Friday. Tomorrow I've got to run down to the big city, which is from me like an hour away basically. And I'm gonna buy a tube and notcher, I think, if I can find one. Yeah, I live out in the woods, guys. I'm 6 miles from the closest store, so it's not like I can just run out and grab a tool. I kind of got to make a plan for doing these things. So, but yeah, what I'm gonna do for now is just make these little gusset plates, get this stuff tacked up, make sure it's gonna be rigid, and then I'll clean it up, welder, and I'm gonna make another piece to go here, piece to go here, put a little gusset in there, gusset in here, tie this all in. It'll be a nice sturdy structure then. And yeah, I'll show you progress on that as I move along here. So yeah, don't try to jerry rig the tube and notcher, because that's a dangerous thing. Don't do it. Just if you think you need one, if you get sick of grinding, then yeah, go buy one, because I think that's the ticket. I thought I was going to be able to do this without it, and I'm sure I could. It's going to have a lot more time involved in it. So, all right, hillbilly out. So I got this thing flipped over. I'm trying to get the back side, all this stuff, welding this stuff in. I got these little gussets made in here and blah blah blah. Got the unistrut trimmed off on each end. I'm gonna wind up boxing it right in when because I didn't have a piece of box tubing. I'm just using stuff that I have, and I don't want to spend money. Anybody can do this stuff with just whatever you have laying around. I mean, you have an old lawnmower laying around, turn it into something. I mean, everything can be reused. So this is an old piece of unistrut that came off a construction job I was working on. It was a good piece of something, so I saved it. Well, here it is. Cross member in a go-kart. But the issue that I'm running into right at the moment is with this welder. If you can see right here, my wire feed keeps bending, and it is driving me up the wall. About every third weld, I'm wind up cutting this piece out, and I think what it is this wire is junk, and it kinks so easily. It's not feeding the way it should feed through here, and I have, well, this little wheel isn't grabbing traction to feed the wire like it should, so I've got to crank the adjustment down in order to get it tight enough to grab the wire to feed it through into down to your electrode, or down to the gun rather. And by doing that, I've got it cranked so tight that anytime I get a little piece of slag or something on the end of my welder, it sticks, and then this bends instead of slipping like it should. I am about ready to fold this thing over a rock somewhere. It's been doing it, like I said, every third or fourth pass that I weld. This thing is being a pain in the butt. So I'm going to take this all apart. I'm going to clean it real well. I'm going to wipe down the spool. I mean, there may be a tiny bit of rust on this because I don't use it a lot. So I'm wondering if maybe that is building up on here and causing issues, making it slip when it's in proper adjustment, or something is happening here that's making me sweat and swear. And sweating is fine, swearing is not. But anyway, so I'm going to putter with this for a bit, see if I can resolve the issue, and then get back to making this horrendous looking thing a little bit prettier than it is. But putty and paint, boys. Make a manufacturer something he ain't. That's right. Alright, I gave up at this point. I've cleaned this thing. I think the wire is just junk or something. I've never had this issue. I mean, once in a while it happens, but this is all the time. I am making terrible looking welds. The thing is not working well, and I'm mad. And I really want to continue with this because I have a few minutes here. And the welder's not cooperating. So I gotta see if I can focus my energy on something else rather than being angry. Because I tell you, there's a 20-pound sledgehammer over there, and it's about to meet a snap-on welder. I'll tell you, I'm sick of it. And it's not the welder. The welder works great. I've had this thing for, well, look at it. It's been around the sun probably 25 times, man. I've got my money out of it. But at the same time, I don't think this is a mechanical issue of the welder. I think this garbage wire is the whole problem. Usually, you know, this stuff will push through without bending, and this is like, I think it's junk. I think the wire's the issue. That really frustrates me because it's like another 30 bucks worth of wire that I'm gonna throw away because I'm angry. So tomorrow I'll get me a new spool of wire, try to clean up some of this chicken manure welding I got going on here. This looks like garbage, and it's frustrating because this is kind of a fairly structural part, and ugly welds aren't necessarily strong welds. So I'm gonna grind them, clean them up a little bit, make sure we got decent penetration and stuff. But yeah, now I'm grumpy. So what am I gonna do? I'll do something else. I'll hog this stuff out. I say hog it out. I'm gonna take my die grinder and clean this up. And there's a little ridge, which is a factory weld when they build the tube. Right in there, there's a little ridge in there. I gotta take my die grinder and just clean that up so that, oh, what'd I do with it? So this bushing fits in there. You get that bushing to fit in there nice and snug, but it won't go past that little factory weld in there. So I gotta die grind that out a little bit. Yeah, that'll give me something to do for a few minutes without, hopefully without swearing. Yeah, let's try it. Yeah, that's what I did. I ground that out, cleaned that ridge up, and with the help of the ball joint press there, I slid that little collar, that bushing in there, and now that's nice. It's like, that makes the whole thing, man. That's pretty sweet. And then what the swing arm is actually going to ride on is this. It's going to be a bolt, basically, that goes through this. This will get lubed up and stuffed in there. It's a little tight. I don't want to put it in there yet because I still have some welding to do, and I'm afraid that it'll melt the bushing, and we don't want that. So yeah, it's gonna be good. Swing arm will ride right there, come across, hang on the bolt, and the swing arm itself will have an adjusting mechanism, whether it be forward or backward. Have not yet. Well, if the chain, you're pulling the chain this way, so you're gonna want the adjustment mechanism will be on this side, so it'll push everything back this way to pull tension on the chain. And then once you tighten the bolt, I'll probably do a tensioner on both sides of it. That way it can't move forward or backward. But what'll actually hold it is the tension on the bolt. And it'll sit there and swing. So yeah. Hopefully that works out. I don't know. One way to find out. Give her the acid test, boys. Yeah. Now what am I going to do? Running out of things I can do, really. I can do this side, but I still got welding to do on here, so I'll probably hold out. Yeah. Kind of at a standstill, I guess. Really stinks that welder decided to be a pain in the butt on me. So, anyway, that's where we're at. All stuff you can do your own self. Alright, gotta update you on a couple things here. So, yes, I fixed the welder. What the issue was the junk wire that I had on it. And I think just the cheap wire, whatever it was, wherever I got it, I don't even remember now. But I was having issues with it right here, bunching up. Every time it would get a little sticky in the end of the gun, get a little slag on it, it would crimp my wire up here. Then you'd have to rethread the thing, and it was just a pain in the rear end. So ran down to the store, got a new spool of wire. Problem solved. Haven't had an issue since. Also, my welds themselves are night and day. I was having like issues, man. I was losing my cool because I couldn't make a decent looking weld. It looked like garbage. It was horrible. But since I put the new wire on, welds like a charm, man. Welds like a brand new rig. So there's that. 2 problems solved, really. And the other thing I did is I purchased a tubing notcher. Yeah, that was wasn't gonna do it. Oh, grinder works fine, blah blah blah. Bullheaded is what it is. Total bull when it comes to that. Bullheaded. This thing, probably the best 60 bucks I've spent in quite some time. Works awesome. Really does. I made several cuts with it the other night just for gits and shiggles, and hey man, works perfect every time. Not just like, okay, it made one cut and then never worked right again. I made several cuts the other night and it works pretty good, so that's good. So yeah, you got 60 bucks, You want to spend on a tube notcher? Absolutely. Go for it. Works good. You're going to save yourself a lot of time, I think, if you're pulling off one of these little projects like this. So, alright. I'm going to plug away, see if I can't get some welding done, cut some pieces, and I'll let you know my progress. Another little piece of information on this conduit. You know, when you're cutting your notches and you want the other one to be exactly straight from, you know, you want your notches straight on each end. So when you put it in the piece, it fits correctly. Well, on a piece of conduit, there are lines, and if you can see them, that run the length of the pipe. And usually there's one that's wider than the rest. And that's the one that I leave on the top side of my pipe. And I use that as a point of reference, so I start my pilot on that line every time. And that way you have a nice straight notch on each end. Just a little idea for you guys.